Hello, my friend. I am so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this week's astrology. It's good to see me, isn't it? In this week's episode, I'll be diving deep into the new moon in Sagittarius chart for you. I will also be sharing an interview I recorded with Jen Allison, who is a speaker, photographer, and educator in Toronto and one of my Boldest You mentees. I will end off this podcast episode with a tarot reading of what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of. So let's just dive right into it. Now, before I get into this new moon in Sagittarius chart for you, we do have some transits to pay attention to before then, which is happening on December 15th. So on December 15th, we have Mars entering the sign of Capricorn, and this is going to really shift how we work and date. Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn, meaning that it loves being here, and this is super helpful in getting any work done. This is going to make us a lot more productive. This is going to make us feel as though we have this newfound motivation and energy to finish off all the work we need to get done before the holidays begin. So that is very, very helpful. Now, the way this is going to shift our dating life is with Mars and Capricorn. Yes, this is great in terms of taking that initiative and action on taking someone out on a date. So that's very lovely. However, I will say this energy can appear as though someone's having a business meeting with you instead of a date. So keep this in mind. This is still very helpful. However, this might not feel as spontaneous or romantic as other Mars transits. With Mars and Capricorn, I will say people could tend to want to overload their schedules or just schedule a lot of things in. This can still be very helpful, but try not to overbook yourself during this time. I know that people can just feel very, very rushed in terms of the end of the year, but this can be very, very helpful. But just keep this in mind when you're scheduling things in. Make sure you're not overbooking yourself. Mars at 29 degrees of Sagittarius on the 14th could have just made you feel very exhausted or just a bit burnt out. So Mars in Capricorn is really going to give us a good needed boost in terms of getting things done, which is honestly very, very lovely. And it's very systematic and very organized. So this is the energy we really need to end off the year. Now let's dive into this new moon in Sagittarius chart for you because it's super juicy. This new moon in Sagittarius is taking place on December 19th, Eastern Standard Time, December 20th, if you're on the West Coast, and it's taking place at 8:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's happening at 28 degrees of Sagittarius, so it's in the final degrees. And what I really love about a new moon in Sagittarius is it's very optimistic, it's very motivational, it feels very passionate. And this new moon in Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter in Cancer. Now, I do think this is going to be a very healing time for us, though. And I say this because Jupiter in Cancer is in a square to Chiron in Aries for this new moon. This means that old wounds around our sense of worthiness can come up right now, especially around the holidays, especially around our family. So with Jupiter in Cancer, this is us feeling more emotionally supported and emotionally fulfilled in taking care of ourselves. However, with this square to Chiron, old triggers can come up right now, especially in regards to relationships to family members, especially in regards to your sense of worthiness and being seen, and what this means when it comes to how you see your sense of home, how you see your sense of family, what this means for you. So be aware of this. This is uncomfortable. However, this is going to help you heal through what you still need to process from the past. This is going to help you heal through, okay, how can I validate myself throughout this journey and process? What boundaries do you need to set in place for the holidays, for seeing family members, for if you are deciding to not see family members, perhaps this is you trying to comfort yourself throughout this journey, and hopefully seeing friends or other people that you can connect with during this time. Now, what's also taking place with this new moon is the sun in Sagittarius will be square Saturn in Pisces during this time. And this is exact on December 17th. So by the time of the new moon, it's not going to feel as intense, but it can still feel very tender. This means that there can be some conflict with an authority figure or a boss, or may this be a family member during this time. And you're trying to figure out how to set boundaries, how to change certain systems at place, certain habits that either a family member is doing or you're doing. Of course, you can't control other people, but for this aspect, you're trying to figure out how to best protect your energy. So with the sun in a square to Saturn, it's not really a fun aspect. However, it's showing you, okay, what changes do you need to make for the long term? Are you there? Are you there in terms of your relationships, especially spiritual partnerships or emotional partnerships that really support your growth? Are you there in terms of knowing what you need to do for yourself to take care of yourself every day, no matter what the ups and downs of life can be? So even though this is an uncomfortable new moon, there's so much potential and opportunity with it to grow in an exponential way. And that in itself is very exciting because we need squares for growth. We need squares to help us understand, okay, what from the past am I still holding on to that I haven't let go of? And even though this is a new moon and this is a start of a new chapter for you, this is an energy where you still might need to release and let go of stuff from the past. And a new moon in Sagittarius is very optimistic in terms of learning something new about your sense of spirituality, what you want in terms of your long-term goals, what you feel is more expansive for you. What can you learn more of? May this be taking a new course. May this be hiring a new mentor. May this be a place of taking a new yoga class, seeing something in a different perspective so that you can expand your mindset and really witness what's possible for you, what's possible for your growth. Now, the thing that's really supporting us throughout this kind of uncomfortable new moon in Sagittarius is Venus in Sagittarius is in a trine to Chiron in Aries. So we have this really lovely support in terms of how we show love and affection, what we value, and what we're still healing from in terms of our sense of worthiness. So perhaps you are witnessing, okay, I know I can focus on myself. I know what I am curious about. I know what I want to put my money towards. Maybe you're supporting small businesses and you're feeling good about gifting that to other people. Perhaps you're investing in your education or what you want for yourself in 2026. Perhaps you are in a place where you're seeing yourself in a new light based on what's possible for you and how this relates to how far you've come. Maybe you're reflecting on the growth you've had in 2025, and it's making you realize, actually, I did a great job for what I was dealt with this year. So this trine is exact on December 18th. So during this time, you could have some very healing conversations with people around you, a bit more vulnerable, a bit more exciting at the same time. So these things can come up for you during this new moon in Sagittarius. A lot of themes around what does freedom mean to you? And also, how are you really tending to yourself? How are you acknowledging and being confident in terms of your skill set, what you are here to do in this lifetime, and how you are in a place of just encouraging yourself around these next steps, around this next time period. So I actually think Venus trine Chiron is super healing for us, and it's helping us see a bigger perspective of why we are kind of going through maybe confusing situations with family members or with what we feel as though we need to be doing at this moment. And I say this because not only is the sun square to Saturn, we also have the sun and moon square to Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So this is a very confusing energy. This time period can feel as though we're not understanding our boundaries at this time, especially when it comes to our spiritual partnerships, our emotional partnerships, what we want to share and be vulnerable with. So this is a bit of a confusing new moon. However, the positive aspect of Neptune is it's a very dreamy and artistic energy. So I want you to lean into that aspect. So perhaps it is figuring out, how can I kind of do something creative during the holidays? Maybe it's gifting something handmade, or perhaps it's you taking out a friend to a class that's more artistic, such as a pottery class or a painting class. This is an energy where even though some uncomfortable things can come up, you're seeing the bigger perspective and the spiritual lesson behind it. And that in itself can be very, very healing. What's also taking place with this new moon is Mercury in Sagittarius are in a square to the north and south node. So with this energy, there's some faded conversations that are taking place where you could feel as though you are in a conversation with someone and you're trying to figure out, okay, what is better for me long term? What is better in this relationship long term? And this could also be in regards to education, spirituality, or travel, especially with Mercury in Sagittarius. This could be a topic, but this is also an energy of figuring out, how can you align in terms of your conversations around the spiritual lesson? What does this mean for you specifically? Is this a partner or a relationship that will grow with you? Again, this doesn't need to be a romantic relationship. This could be a business partnership or a friendship or a family member. So there can be some intense conversations around this time of, okay, what do you want to be doing in the future? And this is more so an energy of letting go of past resentment, perfectionism, really focusing on small details or anything lingering on with a relationship that just feels like very nitpicky or having receipts with the South Node in Virgo. Whereas the North Node in Pisces wants us to focus on the spiritual pursuit, the emotional connection, the idea of, okay, can this emotional connection show me what's possible in terms of our growth together? Is this a safe space for me to be who I am? I will say that with Mercury in Sagittarius. And is this a connection that feels expansive, that shows me what's possible and allows me to be seen? I will say that aspect because of the Chiron activation. So the last transit I really want to pinpoint is Venus in Sagittarius will also be in a square to Saturn in Pisces during this new moon. So even though we have Venus trine Chiron, which is very helpful, very supportive, with Venus in a square to Saturn, this feels as though perhaps we go overboard with our spending. This is an energy where perhaps it feels as though there's a bit of tension where you can't fully show someone the affection you want, or vice versa. This is also an energy where you could feel as though maybe perhaps connections are at a distance from you, they live overseas. This is also an aspect of figuring out, okay, perhaps I need to reassess what I really, really value in terms of a connection and how I'm showing love and affection, how they are showing love and affection. Do you have different love languages? Really good to consider with this new moon in Sagittarius. Now, even though there's a lot of tension with this new moon, I will say it's a beautiful, beautiful time to manifest for 2026. And if you want help with this, I am hosting a new moon in Sagittarius event with the Moon Sign Creative Community, where I'll be guiding you through a powerful manifestation ritual to call in what you really desire for 2026. There is a wait list for the Moon Sign Creative Community if you want to join in. and go sign up if you want to just be notified when doors open again for the community. Yet I am super, super excited for this event. It is honestly going to be such an expansive time to set intentions, to get clear on what you really, really desire for 2026. And honestly, there's a lot of shifts and changes happening in 2026. I'll be releasing your 2026 horoscopes very, very soon, so stay tuned for those. Yet I want you to focus on what intentions you really, really want to call into the new year for you. The new moon in Sagittarius event will be taking place on December 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Replays are available if you can't make it live. And I'm just so excited to see everyone in the community, because just witnessing everyone's growth and what they've been able to call into their life has been so outstanding. It's been so amazing to witness, because people have manifested dream homes, dream pets, more healthier relationships, more sales for their business, more opportunities, and so much more. It's been so beautiful to see. And I also just get so excited to see our group together, because everyone in the community is just so kind and empathetic and just really value their growth and spirituality. So if that sounds like you, go check out the waitlist down below. We would love to see you. And manifestations are amplified in community, so it really does help you in terms of that energetic space to call in what you truly want. Now, I'm so excited to share an interview I had with a Boldest You mentee, Jen Allison, on her practice. Let's get into that. All right. So I am so excited for this week's episode, because I am joined by one of my Boldest You mentees, Jen Allison. And I am so excited to get into this juicy interview. So, Jen Allison is a speaker, photographer, and educator who helps audiences reframe the stories holding them back so they can move forward with clarity, confidence, and purpose. She knows what it's like to chase safe paths, second guess your instincts, and wonder if you're ready enough. Through powerful storytelling and practical tools, Jen inspires audiences to embrace curiosity, rethink expectations, and own their unique gifts, unlocking potential they didn't realize was within reach. Jen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. We were chatting before this that it took a while to schedule, but I am just so excited to dive into this interview with you, having worked with you for a few years and witnessing your growth and also the work you do. I first want to ask how you got into what you're currently doing in terms of being a speaker, photographer, and educator.
Yeah, so I think I was always naturally a photographer and a speaker now that I think about it. Growing up, I always had a camera in my hand. I was most definitely big and like showy and wanted the spotlight on me always. So I think that's where part of the speaker thing came from. But yeah, growing up, I had cameras with me all the time. I was a high school yearbook photographer, and was in student council and was like always out in front of the school speaking, singing on stage, you name it. So I think naturally it was there. And then I didn't go to school for photography at first. And I had a life-changing event when I was 25. My dad died, and it made me realize how life can be very short, and it's really, really important to follow your passions and follow the things that you love to do. And so I decided to go to school for photography, graduated from college, and then that kind of started me on that trajectory of photography. Speaking and teaching is recent in the last 3 years or so, but I always love working with people, and I worked with youth for a long time, but not in a like formal teaching capacity. And then, yeah, I have a lot of lived experiences and wild stories to share. So transitioning to sharing more of that on a stage and with other people as a speaker is just kind of where I've landed now.
I love that so much. I think that's so fascinating in terms of your journey. And I know we share quite a bit in terms of our past and how our father's deaths have really kind of
shown us how short life can be and how that kind of changes your perspective on what to do. So I feel like we both connected in that way as well. And I'm kind of curious, based on what you shared as well, how has your life journey kind of affected how you approach your work in the field and the work you're doing in your field?
Yeah, I think I've always been someone who loves to collaborate with others. So anytime I have a chance to work with people, I'll probably jump at it. um, and I also just am genuinely a curious person. And if I can learn something from someone else because we're in, gathering together, I'm a Sagittarius, so I like to learn, like forever learning new things. And so, yeah, I think I just love being around people, learning from them creatively, learning in different ways. And yeah, for my photography, it's like really transitioned a lot since I first started, because I first started in family photography, and family was really important to me at the time because I didn't have my dad around. And so having having like an outlet to remind people how important it is to have those family photos came through my work. And then it slowly transitioned to working with more entrepreneurs and small business owners and different teams and organizations. So yeah, and I think just big part of it is curiosity and that collaboration piece of just like really genuinely curious about what other people do, and I get energy off of talking to people.
I love that so much. I love that so much. And I think it makes so much sense with your birth chart. I just want to interject on that because I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. You have a few seventh house placements, which can make you really pulled to collaborate with others and have that natural gift with working with other people. And I'm wondering, could you share also your moon and rising sign?
Oh yeah, I always mess this up. My rising sign I think is Aries, and my moon is Taurus.
Yes.
I
I
got
love
it right.
You got it right. Yes. I love it. I love it. It's really fascinating that you've made so many shifts in your career and you've realized, okay, what is really important to you based on your values at that time. And those can transform and evolve. And that's exciting. And I love that you lead with curiosity because I also think that's a really great Sagittarius trait too. Gemini as well, but also Sagittarius, I will say, has that inkling for growth and wanting to just absorb that knowledge. So I definitely see the Sagittarius in you. So I love that you shared that. So, and we're filming this at the time of Sagittarius season. So happy birthday season. I love that. So I kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into this. And I know you are going through this transformation in your career right now, which I hope you can share a little bit more about that. But also, what made you decide to dive more deeper into speaking?
Yeah, so yeah, I am still and will always be a photographer. I don't think I could ever leave my person. However, I actually started dipping my toe into the speaking world when my son was born. And a journey that I had becoming a new parent was very life transforming, not just the parenthood, but some other life complications that was present. And I thought, hey, I have a perspective that I want to share, and a lot of lived experiences that not necessarily everyone lives. Losing a parent when you're 25 isn't not always that common, and just like the lessons that I learned from that. And so I started to put my feet in around 2018. We all know what happened 2 years later, and so things shifted and slowed down. Uh, and then the timing just happened to be right with a lot of things shifting in my business and shifting with photography, where space started to open up. And I had an opportunity to really, instead of dipping my toe in, dive headfirst in. And everything kind of just lined up in a really beautiful way. Um, to the point where I'm been accepted to do some talks that I never thought would happen this quickly. So it's validation that I'm on the right pathway for this time.
I love that. I love that. Are you able to share the talks just yet or
Yeah.
not yet?
So I am presenting at the education conference for South by Southwest in March. And I'm going to have a TEDx talk at the end of March as well.
Ah, so
Yes, so
exciting.
excited.
So exciting. Your growth in the last 2 years of working with you, because I've just seen how much you go full force. Like the Aries rising is so seen in your chart too, just because that passion and drive and knowing like, yes, I can get this done. I can dive into this head first. And there's just this lovely quality that you have of wanting that passion and creativity and fun and infusing that into your practice as well. And I'm also kind of curious how you first got into astrology and kind of what that kind of showed you in terms of where you're at now.
Yeah. So when I was pregnant with my son, I had probably a year before that had gone full time in my business. So I kind of did a little like freelance work as an assistant photographer, got a full time job, and then I went full time self employed. And that kind of shift to all this free time allowed me to start exploring different spiritual practices and meditation and just kind of like finding my footing in that world and astrology. I always knew about astrology and always had in Girl Guides like wanted to learn about all the constellations and when is mine out at what point of the year where I lived. So I definitely had an understanding of constellations, but not the depth of astrology. And so I'd always had a curiosity about it. And then Taddy and I used to work together a long time ago. And years later, I saw her pop up on LinkedIn of all places. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay. And she had just started her astrology business. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like that she's doing this. This is amazing. And I saw her sharing more and more and more about what she was doing. And the combination of branding with astrology really intrigued me. Because to me, it's a very unique individual journey. And so if I can understand maybe why I approach things a certain way or why these things feel easy and these don't because of astrology, to me that's just another tool or resource I have to pull upon and kind of like optimize myself in terms of okay, this is why I'm stuck here or frustrated or feeling I can't move forward in this area. um, so yeah, I was always curious about it. I had no idea I could combine it with, um, how I could approach my business, my life, etc., in the way that Taddy helps everyone understand it. So, and yeah, I even my kiddos like, where's this sign when we're looking up at the sky? So
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I kind of want to share. I love that you mentioned this too, because our story of working together as well was so fascinating to me because the way we reconnected after
yeah,
a few years. So, Jen and I used to work together when I was like an intern at this design studio. And it was so interesting because that was when I looked up the dates, and it was when the North Node was in Aries and the South Node was in Libra. So we had eclipses at that time. And now, when Jen and I reconnected, and we've been working together for 2 years, I remember when we reconnected, the North Node was in Aries, the South Node was in Virgo, yet it was the opposite when we first connected. So there was
that
this,
makes sense.
yes, yes, I think I switched them up, but it was interesting, but we were going through this nodal opposition in terms of our connection, which is very fascinating. So there was eclipses here, and basically when eclipses happen, when the nodes shift in terms of the opposite signs, what happens with the nodal opposition is that major fated events take place, and it also helps you see a 180 perspective from that time period where we first met in this design studio. So it was very fascinating because we were in different careers altogether from that point.
Very different, and like very different nervous systems too.
Yes, I will say that. Yes, for sure, for sure. So it is very fascinating, and I love that you share that story about astrology and that connection to it and just being fascinated by it. I'm kind of curious, like, what made you decide to work in the Boldest You with me in terms of that aspect?
Yeah, I I I think the individuality of it was really interesting to me, and like again, a lot driven by curiosity of a little bit of like how is that going to work. So there was a bit of wonder around. Okay, I'm really interested to see how this plays out, uh, but also I I had this feeling that it wasn't a cookie cutter, one size fits all like box coaching program that I've not had luck with in the past. And that was a hesitation I did have when we had first kind of talked about it, which you clarified it was not. and yeah, and I just really felt a connection with you, and I I wanted to give it a go to see what could happen. And I was nervous at first because I have had bad experiences in the past. So there was a lot of like guard up and wall up with it. But it was I don't know if there was like a specific moment that like sealed the deal or like convinced me or anything, but it just felt very aligned and very right. And so yeah, I dove in, and it was like I got 2 years ago, I guess now, and it's been so great since.
Yes, oh my gosh. I am so happy to hear that. And I think what's really interesting too is we both work in similar ways too. So I do want to preface that too, because I think it's really finding a mentor that has a similar perspective in how you work or is able to see how you work very clearly. And both Jen and I have Mars and Virgo, which I think really helps in terms of um, just supporting because you know what that other person needs. And I think I love that you shared you had previous coaches that you did not have the best experience in. And I think sometimes we can want that help and support from a coach or a mentor, and we see the results they're getting, but they don't really care to understand where we're coming from, or maybe they do, but they don't know how
Exactly.
to actually support someone because they aren't aware of how that person works or how that person operates or that person's specific energy. And I think that is the beauty of astrology, where
Hmm.
you're able to recognize actually everyone is very unique in terms of how they work and take action and
Hmm.
what they're doing for their business and their career and all of this. And I'm kind of curious, like, based on this, what have you felt was the most helpful and transformative part of our work together?
Mm. Great question. I think uh most helpful, and I think a lot of it was almost like reminders of you have this in this house or of course this is hard, Jen, because of this reason, or um there this pattern or this repeated thing or whatever. um you're reminders of that, but also you're gentle, like you're gentle about it. There's no harsh harsh accountability or judgment. So having just this very gentle, subtle um guidance has like, if 2 years ago like you told me I'd be here where I am right now starting with you, I wouldn't have believed it, because yeah, like you said, the growth is so huge, but it wasn't forced, it wasn't painful. It was uncomfortable at times, but it didn't feel like I had to dive in and in 3 months do this intensive and all these things would happen. It was a much more subtle um, change, but a huge change, and all in a fantastic way. I'm going on a tangent and I kind of forget the question.
That's okay. No, I love that, honestly. That made me almost tear up because I was like, "Oh, my
Oh,
Mr. Moon." But it was more so like, what was the most helpful and transformative part?
yeah.
I feel like for you, it was that gentle reminder
Yeah.
and push and
And
that validation.
and like when I didn't do my morning routine, or if I like got busy and um like forgot those kind of like rituals that help my nervous system stay regulated and keep me expanding and growing and opening up to all these amazing opportunities, there was a gentle reminder. It wasn't a there was no shame or me feeling bad that I didn't do it. It was a very so I think that gentle guidance and encouragement and reminders, although probably to some people might seem small, they were probably the biggest and most helpful in terms of transformation.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear. I love that. I think we can sometimes just feel like, okay, we know what to do. And I will say, like, everyone is like it's possible for everyone to get that growth or transformation on their own. Like I feel
Mhm.
like everyone is able to get to
Mhm.
where they want to go. Everyone has this power. Everyone has this ability. There's just certain things where if a relationship can help you see this faster
Mhm.
and is able to help you kind of redirect or nudge you or remind you of these systems in place, these tools, these things that can help you dramatically change your life,
Mhm.
then it saves you so much time and you can have such exponential growth. And I do see this even for myself too. Like it's just understanding, okay, we all need help. We all need that support. And
Mhm.
oftentimes I always tell anyone who's hesitant, like, you can definitely I definitely believe in everyone getting to where they want to go, but it's more so like if someone knows that they need that one-on-one support or they need that
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
to get to the next stage, it can be
Mhm.
trickier or more difficult
Mhm.
if they're kind of avoiding it or not really wanting to get to that place. So I'm so happy to hear like that was very transformative. And I remember you have honestly had such transformation in the last 2 years that I'm kind of curious, like throughout that process and journey, like for you, because I want to just go back to when we first started. Where do you feel like you were at in terms of how you felt and your business, and then just where you're at now?
Mhm. Yeah, it was I think in general I had a lot of skepticism about everything. like like my business, like working with someone one on one, but also so like driven by not lack, but a fear of like lack. So a lot of my decisions were made based in um, money, and I need to make money now, a little bit of panic. And how do I do, how, like, tell me the formula to do this. How do I get here? Like, just tell me the answer versus where I'm now, where it's a lot more trust um, and I don't want to say that in a very like woo woo trust way because listen, we all have bills to pay. And like, by no means am I saying just trust and everything will happen. But um, like trusting in myself that I don't need to go out and spiral into a panic, that it's been a slow couple months, or, trusting that those slow months might be there to open up the door so I can have a TEDx talk. And that can be really hard to swallow at times. But then when the outcome comes and you're like, okay, this is why it was slow. So I had an opportunity to do this. Yeah. And I think not fully understanding the power of the tools that do work for each person. So whether that be meditation, journaling, tapping, whatever it is for you, um, I don't think I fully comprehended just how powerful they could be when done regularly, and how much of they're almost a barometer now. So which you helped me learn that when I'm not feeling myself, usually your first question would be, well, have you been doing this? Like, have you been journaling or this or that? And I think it made me just realize like how helpful they can be. So yeah, just in a much better space in terms of welcoming the quiet and welcoming the like slow seasons in the business, and then trusting that, you know, I'm where I need to be, and I say that in like a truthful, not a meme or like quote on Instagram, but actually feeling it. And I think I've been searching for that for a really long time.
Love that. Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy to hear. And just witnessing your growth, I just remember seeing just at the beginning of our time working together, and what also took place where I have really witnessed your growth was also saying no to more things that was
Yeah.
hard for you in the beginning. And
Yeah, I couldn't
how
say no.
yes, yes. Can you speak a bit more about that? Like you
Yeah.
turn down opportunities. Like you've gotten a lot of opportunities with, you have your Sagittarius sun, you have this ability to attract a lot of opportunities, but I know it was a challenge in the beginning of saying no to certain things because and making that space for aligned
Mhm.
opportunities that feel more
Mhm.
fulfilling for you.
Yeah, that was hard to just almost to like define or let go of what fulfilled me. So I think for so long, um, well, it was an identity shift because for so long it was just this is who you are and this is what you do. So therefore you have to do this because this is what you did for so long. And so that part, okay, so there was a little bit of pain in that part when I said there was no pain, but it was really difficult to say no to things. I mean, it took me, I think, a year when I had first said I'm going to do this, and then it took me a year to actually follow through with it, um, and and really like trust that that was the right choice. And it was fine. Like everyone I had to say no to that meant something to me, that I was worried about, it was fine. And for those that I, didn't know or had no relationship with, it was much easier to say no to. And what's great was it actually became an opportunity for me to refer people to peers and students I teach, and like share the love and gift it out to like people who are eager and ready to do it and need an opportunity to start working. So that was really nice that I could kind of not just say no, but say no and then help both the people, like the people who are asking and then students.
I love that. I love that so much. Yes, it's been so amazing to witness, and I'm just so happy. Like I've seen your energy shift in the last 2 years of just feeling more peace and more calm. At the beginning, I felt as though, I think we can all get into that stage of like hustle and wanting to do so much, and then also the anxiety of, as you said, shifting from lack into abundance and more
Hmm.
peace and flow and that calmness. So I love that you shared what has been the most transformational for you, which is like the power of like daily habits and rituals that can really help you get there. So I
Hmm.
love that. I'm kind of curious, what would you tell someone who's kind of on the fence about the Boldest You mentorship
Oh
program?
yeah, that's good. What would I tell someone on the fence? I'm like, don't be on the fence. I think it's like it might feel they maybe they're unsure. I don't know. Maybe they're unsure about whatever their reservations are. I don't know, but like you just have to dive in because again, if the person 2 years ago was standing beside me, just looking at us, I think you would see a massive transformation. But because it's so unique and individual based on your chart and like what's everything that's happening at the time, etc. Um, it truly has helped so much in terms of not just business, but like life and just being a good human and taking care of myself. Like that self-care piece is probably bigger than any other transformation really, because I wasn't ready to have these opportunities because I was so dysregulated in my nervous system. So I think if you're on the fence because you're not sure if it's for you, it's for you. If you're on the fence because, of some other reason, like I had my guard up, I would say have a call with Teddy and actually talk to her. Because, as soon as I put out my questions of fear based on past experiences, the conversation was so great that I was just like, no, this is it. I'm going to do this. And you'll see a massive change within a year for sure.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, and anyone who's watching this who is interested, like I do offer free discovery calls after you apply to the program because I always now really want to make sure it's a good fit to work with that person as well. Even on my side too, I really want to make sure I
Yeah.
know 100% like we can grow together and help each other in terms of this process because it's a relationship like any other
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that you share that because I honestly am just so proud of your growth for the last 2 years because it's just been so inspiring to witness. And then also just in terms, I love that you mentioned the identity shift. Can you speak a little bit more on that identity shift for you?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like out of a box. Like I feel like I was in a box of a label, like this is what you are,
Mhm.
like, and you're a photographer and that's it. And so I think that identity shift, I always knew I was more than that, but I don't think I was ever able to embody it and express it. And so just having the trust and confidence to like changing my website, like that, that was a whole thing because for years, like over a decade, right? It's like 15 years I've been a photographer, period. And so shifting to more than that, like, okay, now I'm a teacher, now I'm educating, now I'm doing workshops, now like these baby steps to shifting more of what I do publicly. Because yeah, my personal life is like cool. I have tried roller skating, I've done triathlons, like all these different things, but professionally it was really hard to shift that identity. And it just feels more open and free for sure.
I love that so much. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. And, I feel like you've done so many amazing things in the last 2 years that sometimes I forget like how much change has happened and taken place. Cause I was like, wait, but also not only have you started speaking, got into like a TEDx talk, done all these things, you got your own dream studio within the
Yes.
first year of working
Yes.
together. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, because I know you had hesitations of that
Yeah.
and something you wanted for years.
Yeah. When I moved to Toronto many years ago, I assisted a lot of photographers who had their own photo studio. I'm like, one day I'm going to have my, like, you know, one day. And it just never felt like that would ever happen for anyone who lives in Toronto, right? Like, it's not the most economical place to live. And I have, like many, I have this quirk where I like to go on realtor.com and look at houses and just for fun. And I often would look at studios to just dream about it, like one day, one day, one day. And I don't even know how it happened. I was away on vacation with my family and we were just having like a rest. And for some reason, I'm like, I'm gonna go look and see what's like. I was in bliss, so it was like pure dreaming mode. Yeah, and I saw a listing for this place, and I didn't believe it was possible because of the cost was actually reasonable for Toronto. And long story short, it was very fast and it was very scary, but I was teaching and it was all going to work. So it happened. And yeah, it'll be 2 years in May.
I love that so much. I love
Hmm.
it so much. And I also think what I've also seen from you in terms of your transformation too is just you've been also writing a lot more in terms of
Hmm.
not only for yourself, but also sharing it on your newsletter, and you've created like
Hmm.
a new system. And
Hmm.
that was something that we kind of talked about. How has that kind of helped you in terms of building community, but also sharing more about what you do and how that makes you feel in terms of who you are now and this new
Hmm.
stage in your life?
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember when we started, I'm like, I want to post this many times a month or whatever and get better at social and writing. And uh, I think your challenge to me was like, let's get you started like once a month and like for a year and see how it goes. And I really wanted a template and a formula to follow. And so I did that for a while and it got easier and easier and easier. And then, yeah, it turned into like more of a community kind of vibe. And it did morph into like a paid Substack community for photographers. And what's so funny about this and just you bringing it up is I've always had a really good open rate in my newsletters, but now after I've shifted to a bit of a different format and talking a lot about what I talk about in my talks, in my keynote, and in my workshops, I bring that into my newsletters. But I also still share a monthly kind of personal update because my clients and my newsletter subscribers have always loved that side to like see the adventures I go on with my family or what new and crazy thing I'm trying or exploring or whatever. But since I've shifted in the last few months, I have had so many people reply, like telling me just how much what I'm saying is resonating with them, and it's like floored me because they're all just the thoughts in my head. But I think there's some way they come out in me that resonate with people. And it's just been so rewarding to have people reply and share that with me because it's also fuel to keep me writing and to keep me going and share like in my like photo collective that are my paid Substack, like just share what I've learned to help other people not make the same mistakes I had to make. And I'm a big believer in not gatekeeping information in the photography industry because that is like that's been kind of the way. So that's what that's for. And just that community also has been amazing. So I don't think, again, Jen from 2 years ago, if you told me that that's what would have happened, I wouldn't have believed you at all.
I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'd love to hear just more about how people can work with you, how people can like, either get a photo session from you or
Mm-hmm.
have you speak to their company or join your photo collective.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, Jen Allison Photo, and LinkedIn. And my website's jenallison.ca. So I have all my speaking information there and photo stuff. Um, yeah, I have a whole bunch of things that you can do with me, whether it's needing branding photos, headshots, company organization photos. I have photo mentorships for people who are interested in learning how to be better photographers. I offer workshops throughout the year, mostly for people who just want to do something creative. Like we had a cyanotype printing workshop. You don't need to be a photographer for that. And then I will have some new offerings in the new year that are for everybody, aligned with the theme of my TEDx talk and just about perspective and shifting perspective on things. I'm not gonna give away too much. And then, yeah, my talk is about adjusting your view and reframing expectations. And I have 2 workshops also that organizations or teams can bring me in for. So it's all on my website, or you can find me on Instagram where I'm very active, and LinkedIn.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jen. I'm
No problem.
honestly so excited to work with you for a third year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be super fun. And I'm launching like a group program aspect of the Boldest You if you love Jen's energy as well and you want to come into a group mentorship.
Yeah, join us.
Join us. But please, if you are a photographer or you're trying to
Mhm.
get into photography, please follow Jen. Please check out her photo collective. Please check out her mentorship. Please do all the things. She has amazing, amazing offers. And thank you so much for sharing, Jen. Is there anything else you'd like to share with everyone?
No, I just hope everyone has an amazing 2026 after this year.
Fair. I love that. I honestly, if you thought the astrology of 2025 was wild, well, we're gonna
Oh,
get
great.
it's gonna be some exciting stuff in 2026. A lot of things I'm looking forward to, don't worry. A lot of things I am looking forward to. But thank you so much for joining me. This
Thank
was
you.
so fun. And yeah, if anyone's watching, if anyone has any questions for Jen, just go message her, reach out to her, and just have a conversation.
That'd be great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. Bye.
Oh my gosh, I really love that interview with Jen. If you want some support or help with your business in 2026, especially if you have a creative or wellness business, go check out the Boldest You Mentorship Program. I'll leave more details on how to apply down below. There is a special bonus if you apply before December 19th. I'll leave more details of that down below. And if you're interested in the group version of the Boldest You Mentorship Program, which is very new for 2026, I am super, super, super excited for that. Go check out the details for that down below, but I can't wait to start it in January. Again, there's a special bonus if you join before December 19th, and I can't wait to see your business thrive in 2026. If you have any questions for me, feel free to message me. I'm happy to hop on a free call to really see if the program's right for you. Now let's get into the tarot reading for this week. Okay, so the first card out is the King of Swords. Oh, okay, this makes so much sense with the new moon in Sagittarius chart. There's someone you need to set boundaries with this week. There's some conversations you need to have, yet you are in your power, which I love to see. You are in your power. You could feel like you need to be a bit cold in terms of this person. You could feel as though you need to withdraw your energy. It could feel as though, okay, perhaps you need to kind of reflect more on, is this person best for me right now? Again, this could be any kind of relationship, but this is you setting a boundary and realizing, actually, this is what I really need to do for myself. Actually, I really need to take my power back. So keep this in mind. The next card out is the Two of Cups reversed. So this is kind of confirmation. It is about a relationship. So you can see here, we have these two cards side by side. So there's a difficult conversation you're having with someone, but you now know much more and you're more clear about the direction of this conversation. It could have been a conversation you've been having for, I would say, a month and a half to 2 months, especially because of that Mercury retrograde that just ended. So we're coming back to this conversation. And now you are witnessing, okay, I need to say goodbye to this relationship. I need to set a boundary. Or you could be reassessing, how can I take back more power to myself? And how can I really nourish myself in a way where I feel more confident, where I feel more inspired? So again, this might not feel the best, I will say. So make sure you're giving yourself more self-care and love this week. Make sure you are setting aside some time for yourself. This is an energy where you have to withdraw and really focus on who you're becoming. Focus on your energy and how to regain your energy in a more uplifting, loving way. The next card out is the Hierophant reverse. So there's something here where I feel like the situation is an energy where you want a change to take place, maybe within the relationship or a situation, yet you feel as though there's not a solid foundation or you're going around in circles. This could feel like you're not seeing an authority figure in the same light anymore. May this be a parent, a boss, a friend, anyone that you had in high regards before, you're seeing them in a different light. And I really see this message of, I'm hearing, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to take a step back. It's okay to understand that it might not have the foundation you want. You might want to do things differently. Maybe they were a more traditional person. Maybe they hated change. Or maybe perhaps you just realized, okay, how can I navigate the situation without draining my energy? And I think this is a week where you're kind of witnessing which partners or friends or connections are there for you. And this is an energy where you're just recognizing, actually, I'm seeing the situation more clearly, and this is how I need to move forward. I asked what our challenge is this week, and we have the 5 of Cups reverse. So you might already be disappointed about a certain situation. You could feel as though, actually, yes, there's still amazing things around you. You're kind of focusing more on the negative at this moment, and you kind of recognize that. You realize, actually, there's a lot of great things happening for me. Actually, there's so many things I can focus on for that emotional fulfillment, those connections that are really uplifting for me. Yet, at the same time, you're recognizing, okay, this is a disappointing situation. I need to process what just happened, but I also need to let it go. I need to let go of the past. I need to let go of what no longer resonates with you, and just an emotional baggage that's been weighing on you. So this is a feeling of trying to let go of disappointment, trying to let go of things not going in the way that you wish they were. And it's more so this energy of acceptance. So I asked, okay, how can we get to this place of acceptance around this situation? And we got the 3 of Wands. So this is an energy of collaboration, of passion, but also long-term vision. What did you learn from this situation? What feels very exciting for you right now? How can you focus more on your creativity, your passion, plans for the future? This is an energy of focusing on what you want to call in for 2026. I really do love this card because I feel as though, yes, things can feel a little bit heated, but it's also you kind of focusing more on the future. You're not focusing on the past anymore. You're trying to stay present as well. But this is a card of knowing, okay, maybe you need to see the situation in a different perspective, and that's going to help you move forward in a more excited way. And again, this doesn't mean that you have to take this person back. And at the same time, this doesn't mean you necessarily have to cut someone out of your life. However, perhaps it's just reassessing a boundary and figuring out what feels better for you. But I do feel like you're going to have more conversations around what you're actually very excited about for 2026, what feels more creative for you, what feels more passionate for you. And I do feel like this is an energy of collaborations, but also long-term vision. So I love this for you. Oh my goodness. And we also got, I have support. So lean on the support you do have. Lean on those connections that are showing up for you. I love this energy. It's such a beautiful reminder of focusing on what you currently have cultivated for yourself. And you also got anything you want is out there somewhere. So just know whatever you're trying to call into your life, it's possible for you. Just know that whatever you are wanting and desiring, you're wanting and desiring it for a reason. Pay attention to that feeling. Pay attention to knowing that it's okay to want those things. And you also got inhale, exhale. So make sure you are taking deep breaths. Make sure you are regulating your nervous system. Make sure you are in a place of taking some time and being mindful, because that's what we really, really need with this new moon in Sagittarius. You also got reflect. So I think this is going to be such a beautiful time to reflect on the year, to realize, okay, what needs to change for you? What feels good to you, and how can you just celebrate how far you've come? So I love that energy. Let me know if this resonates with you. If you've made it this far in the video, please like, comment, and subscribe because it really does help me out. And comment below sandwiches just so that I know that you made it this far in the video. And thank you so much for watching, friend. Happy new moon in Sagittarius. Hopefully I'll see you for the new moon in Sagittarius event, or see you for the next Moon Sign Creative Community event. I'll leave more details for that down below to join the waitlist. And if you want help in growing your wellness or creative business for 2026, go check out the Boldest You Mentorship Program and apply before December 19th for that special bonus. I'll leave more details on that down below. Thank you so much for watching, friend. And just remember, the universe has your back. And with peace and love, take care.